In this video, we're going to show you how to use the Kestrel Bike Fit computer. The purpose of this computer is to help you dial in your fit coordinates or to match your current bike's measurements on a new Kestrel frame. At the top of the page, you'll see that there is some explanation, and there is a diagram showing some of the important fit coordinates, important fit measures that are useful to know for a fitter when trying to fit someone on a tri-bike. But if we go right down to the actual computer itself, you'll see that at the top there are two sets of orange boxes, and these represent either your fit coordinates as specified by a fitter or as known by you, and they should be pretty self-explanatory here, or your bike's measurements. So you can enter either of these columns, or you can enter both of these columns to use to help you find the right Kestrel frame. If you use your bike measurements, let's say that you're happy with the fit on the current bike that you have and you'd like to transfer that same fit over to a new Kestrel frame, you can enter these measurements in here, and these are pretty self-explanatory, and we're going to have a video as well to show you how to take these measurements. But basically what you're doing with these is you're putting your back wheel up against a wall, and that way you can measure from the floor up to various points on the bike, and you can measure from the back wall to various points on the bike and enter these various measurements. Alternatively, like I said, you have these actual fit specs or contact point measurements here, which you may be able to also take off your bike, or you may have had a fitter specify for you. When you come down here to the calculated fit specs area, you can see that you can select either using the coordinates or the measurements. So that corresponds to this column or this column, and you can choose which one you want to use. Since we have some coordinates entered in here, we're going to leave this set at coordinates, and here it calculates the various fit parameters of interest. Some of these are just transferred directly from above, some of them are calculated, but you have things like saddle height, the saddle setback, you have the measurement for the saddle nose to the back edge of your armrest cups or your aero bar cups, the saddle nose to the center of the stem clamp, also known as the bar reach, drop from the saddle seating surface to the pads, etc. Your effective seat angle, all these things that are useful in finding your fit. So finally, when we get down towards the bottom of the computer, we see the different Kestrel frames in different sizes listed, the 4000 and the Airfoil in their various sizes listed. There's a check column here which just checks to make sure that the standover isn't too high for you, or that the maximal seat height available in each of these frames isn't too low for you, and that if it does, it'll throw up an error message and you won't even be able to consider that frame as a potential fit. Next to each frame, we see the stem lengths and the stem angles for the default stem that the bikes are shipped with, the default stem length. You can change that, however, within a reasonable range of stems. You can change the stem length for each bike. You can also change the stem angle, the +6 or -6 stem that the bike comes with, or you can investigate what will happen if you change to a different angle stem, a 10-degree, 17-degree, or a 0-degree stem. You can also change the amount of spacers underneath the stem on the steerer, between 0 and 2 spacers. We're not going to use more than 2 centimeters of spacers. You can also actually put a 1 centimeter spacer under the aero pads if you like, which the current profile and zip bars allow you to put a 1 centimeter spacer under the pad, so you have that option too. By default, that's selected to 0. And then the results show you the amount of drop you're going to achieve with those settings on each frame, and the minimum cup reach and the maximum cup reach, as well as the reach to the base bar and the stack to the base bar. So in that case, you can compare them to your values derived from up here. So you can see for this rider, they have a 13 centimeter drop, a cup reach of 45, a base bar reach of 50, and a base bar stack of 57. So we can compare the various frames up here. So if let's, for instance, say we're looking for 45, well, we can see in the 4000 that the 52.5 is a little short. The 55 is close. Of course, we could say, well, we can also switch stems on there. So, for instance, we can switch to a 110 stem here, and then we see that this changes to a 44.3 versus where it was here with the 100, 43.3. So we can see that difference. We can also change the angle of the stem. That's going to change the drop. So, what we're looking for first, you can kind of go through each one of these and see, well, we need a 13 centimeter drop. So far, really only the smallest bike in the 4000 is letting us get that 13 centimeter drop. The Airfoil with the lower stack design, you can get that on a variety of different frame sizes. But let's not forget that we can use the lower stack aero bars here, change to an SE. Now we're down to 12.4 centimeters drop with a -17 stem, and oh yeah, we can take out that spacer. And so there we are. We've got more than enough drop on the 52.5 4000. Let's put half a centimeter of spacer back. So there we are, 12.9 versus 13. We're looking at 45 here. So we can see that the cup reach ranges from 43.6 to 45.6 depending on how we set the cups on the aero bars. With this combination, the 100 stem, the -17, a half centimeter spacer, so that happens to fit pretty well. Base bar reach, we're looking for 50, we got 50.6, we're looking for 57, we got 56.9, so that looks like it works just perfectly. So there we found a really good match in the 52.5 4000 with an SE setup on the front end. If we wanted to look down at the Airfoil, we bring the same values down here, and we can see that the 52 or the 54 is looking like the right amount of drop. Of course, the 50 would also work, but let's look over at the cup reach of 45. The 50 is going to be short there with the stock stem. We can see that the 52 with the stock stem is going to be a little bit short but close, and the 54 is pretty much going to be right in the range we're looking for. Base bar reach is a little bit on the long side with the 54. So we'd be looking at the 52 here, and of course it's going to change depending on, let's say we do the SE bars here to lower the lower zip bars. Now we're looking at a 13.2 drop for the 54 right on. The reach is a little long. Let's pull back on the stem, go to a 100, and then the reach is just about right. The cup reach is just about right. We can even go with a 90 if we want to. We can see that the drop is going down a little bit, but we could always flip the stem over. So now we've got not enough drop, flip the stem over, take a spacer out, we're back down to 12.8 drop. Now we've got a 44 to 46. Boy, that fits right in. These are real close, 50 versus 51, 57 versus 57. So there we have another really good match. 54 Airfoil SE with a 90 stem turned up 6 degrees with 0 spacers, and we have a very good match. So this shows you pretty clearly how you can play with the setups for any one of these frames and dial in your perfect fit, and it's going to really take any of the surprise or guesswork out of it as long as you know either your fit coordinates or the measurements off your current bike, and you know that those work well. You can find the perfect match in a Kestrel frame.